I have a question. I'm from Keiton College, and we are really concerned about the state of the 2500 building.
Yeah.
The hospital's supposed to be. Right now, the whole backside is covered with graffiti, and all the windows are broken out.
Right.
It doesn't show very well when we bring new students in, and I just wondered what the status
Great
of the
question.
project
See,
is.
that's why, if I was giving a speech, I would have never talked about that, not because it's not important, because that's why I like questions that come from the audience, because we can talk about the things that are important. Let's talk about 2500 New York Avenue. We start off, obviously the building's been vacant for a long time, all right? And then we have a group of doctors approach us from Illinois, which, you know, I'm sure Mayor Joe gets the same thing in Whiting. They're gonna approach us in Indiana because of our malpractice rates are so low compared to Illinois. A lot of the same reasons they're coming over for tax reasons. Malpractice, they've been doing that for years. So it makes a lot of sense in this part where we live, in Whiting or in Hammond, we could get doctors' offices here. We can get these doctors from Illinois to come over here. They'll bring their Chicago patients into Robertsdale or Whiting to practice, and if they do get sued, I used to represent doctors when I was a lawyer. They get sued for everything. You know, and I'm going to go off track. If you gave somebody an aspirin on day 1 of their hospital stay, they had heart surgery on day 3, every doctor that had anything to do with them is going to get sued. And it was my job to get the doctor out. My guy gave him aspirin, and then we get him out of the case. But every doctor gets sued. So it's not a matter of if you're going to get sued. If you're a doctor, you will get sued because you're part of a chain that cared for that individual, right? Well, if you're going to get sued, why not bring your employees over here or your patients over here to Indiana? And if you do get sued, at least we have better malpractice laws. From the doctor's perspective, you know, if from a plaintiff's lawyer's perspective, it's not, you'd rather practice in Illinois as a plaintiff lawyer, but as a doctor's lawyer, this is a good place to practice. So we have a group of doctors approach us, this is before the recession, and they say we want to convert 2500 New York Avenue to a hospital. 200 room, emergency room. Councilman Mark and I were involved in this. I'd be remiss if I didn't introduce the Councilman of the 1st District, Hammond, Mark Kowinski. Thank you very much, Councilman. Councilman Mark and I are involved. We got the economic development team involved, and basically, it's too good to be true. But not only that, they got money behind them. They got the state behind them. They're working. The lawyers they're meeting with the community. They had a stack of paperwork. I'm telling you, this high, thousands of pages. They've done tons of work, right? They gutted the whole building. We're cruising, and I'm thinking, this is one of the best projects I can imagine as mayor. You got a large building, abandoned for years, and we convert it over, and it's gonna become a 200-bed hospital. In Gary right now, they're fighting to keep hospitals open, and in Hammond, we're opening up another hospital, which is good, right? Then the recession hits. Then the credit markets dry up. Then our doctors, you know, all that work they did, all the gutting, I can only imagine how much they spent in there. Phil Talon's the head of planning and development. Phil, how much did they spend on this project?
I want to say it was somewhere between $4 and $6 million.
I thought it was $6 million myself. They spent a lot of money to get in this building. They gutted it, all the paperwork, all the lawyer work, everything they did with the state. When that credit market dried up, there were no options for financing it. They walked. And now we still got the shell of a building, but inside, it's ready for development. As far as the graffiti and stuff like that, that's a legitimate issue. I need to talk to the police department about. But unfortunately for us, it was a beautiful project that just fell apart. It was because of the credit markets.
Well, you know, and I understand that, but I know several of us, if you're working out in our gym, several of us have had to call the police because people are actually inside the building. And I know they've taken everything that possibly can be used out of that building.
Okay.
Is there any plan for either security or demolishing that building?
Well, I would hate to see it demolished, and I understand it's an eyesore, but it's been an eyesore for a long time.
But it's far worse now than it's ever been.
No, these are legitimate issues. I appreciate you bringing it up. Yeah, Beth is the head of economic development.
We're going to contact the owners and, kind of make them fully aware of the situation and the needs for increased security around that building, and hope they can take it from there.
Reach out to the police department when we get back. This is a legitimate issue. I appreciate you bringing it up. I would hate to see that building demolished because it's like we're giving up. I would rather, part of the great thing about that plan was we were talking Calumet College is right there, and they could link in, and you got a hospital in Cal College. Maybe Cal College goes off with pre-med, and they have internships, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful, and it fell apart. And I was literally one of the saddest, and when I say this is one of the saddest economic development projects, I'm including Woodmar Mall. This was so good for the city. This was so good for the city. It would have been nothing, if it would have happened, it could have been the kind of thing you could brag about for a long time. Is we took an abandoned building, a large abandoned building, converted it into a hospital. I'm sorry that it didn't work out for the city. And I'm sorry that you have to deal with that, and we need to take care of that. But it's not owned by the city, I want to point
No,
that
no,
out.
I understand that.
Yeah, okay, great question.